Welcome to the third week of Will's Words of Wisdom. I don't know why I made the thing so complicated because I can't even say it myself now. But I wanted to talk about this week for people, self-discovery, self-awareness is kind of like a big thing in people telling you to be an entrepreneur. And I definitely agree having self-awareness and understanding your strengths and weaknesses are important. But I want to give you an exercise that I did that I think really helped me discover kind of I think that, the mind operates on an unconscious level and a conscious level. And I think to understand yourself, you got to understand how your mind works in an unconscious level. What are the kind of patterns that maybe your parents or grandparents or families or teachers kind of planted in your mind before you got to choose what you believed in and how that's really affecting you, right? So I was at a really low place in my life when I was in my 20s. I would say I was probably like 21. I was living in a car, and I was really looking for a sense of purpose in life, and I didn't really know how to find it. And I read this book, and despite being dyslexic, I read a few books in my life, but this was like a really low moment where I had to read a book, like I really had to force myself to read something. And it's a book called The Purpose-Driven Life. It's kind of a religious-based book. Definitely not super religious myself, but I read the book more because I was really looking for a purpose at this moment in my life. And you read one chapter a day for 40 consecutive days, and I did this. And one of the things that it has you do is it has you write out a list of your mother and your father, and you write out a list. And you write what was positive that when you think back to that memory of your mother or father when you were a child, what was the positive impact of what they taught you and what was the negative? And then you do that for each person that you can remember that had an impact on your life, your mother, your father, your aunt, your uncle, your first grade teacher, your second grade teacher, your sixth grade teacher. And then you just kind of go through that list up to date. And what you'll find is that there's a lot of unconscious belief systems that you're carrying that come from them, come from your parents, come from your teachers, come from people of influence that when you were growing up, that you maybe don't actually really believe, or that you don't want to believe. You don't really want to carry this belief system, but it was planted in you before you even had the choice to choose what you were going to believe, right? So when you go through this exercise, the idea is that you take the positive that you want to keep, and the negative, you acknowledge it. It's not like just because you read it and you understand it's just going to go away. But having the knowledge that, hey, this belief system doesn't necessarily come from me. I didn't really choose to believe this. It just kind of was planted in me, and now I'm carrying it, but it's really not what I want to carry with me. And I think that this exercise has really helped me understand, the belief systems about myself, like people that said stuff to me, like when I was young, people told me that I was going to be stupid because I was dyslexic and I didn't read well. But that wasn't my actual belief system. I never really thought something negative about myself, but people said it to me before I had the choice to choose what I was believing. So it was having an effect on what I was thinking about myself, right? So this is one exercise that I would recommend anyone that's really trying to do self-discovery, find out who they are, is make a list of all the people that came into your life. What is the positive and negative? Choose what you want to keep, and be aware of the negative thought patterns and the negative belief system that you've incorporated in yourself that you didn't choose. Not saying you're going to be able to get rid of it overnight, but at least the awareness of it, and when it crops up in your life, you can acknowledge it and say, hey, that's not really what I think. That was planted in me before, and I'm not going to choose to believe that in this moment. I'm going to choose to believe the positive thing that I want to believe and not take the negative with you. So just a quick exercise for people that want to do self-discovery or in that phase where they're trying to find themselves and find who they want to be, that you can take that with you and use it. So have a good one. Wish you the best of luck.